thinking about the spiritual danger of doing good and why it is important, I see two sides to it. There's the positive and the negative. When I was thinking about it, I discovered that on the positive side is that it's important because I want to end well. In your book, you mentioned that a number of people that did not end well after giving all their lives and their times to God, they did not end well. The main important reason for that book, or what it's going to do in the lives of people, is going to help us to end well, to make sure that we walk the right walk until we end well. And for me, that is positive. And on the side that appears to be negative is that it's going to keep us away from practices that are not necessary. And one of them that I would talk about is avoiding burnout, to burn out, because one of the questions you refer to in your book is not focusing on doing and forgetting that God is creating a character in us. When you do, we can never do enough. There's so much brokenness, there's so much poverty, there's so much pain and hopelessness that we can never do enough. And if we continue to give to ourselves in order to try and overcome what is happening, we will end up burning out ourselves. And the spiritual dangers of doing good is that it's reminding us, one, it's reminding us that we are vessels that are going to be used, and there are so many vessels in this world, and God chooses the sizes and the shapes, and what we need to do is to be the vessel that God has called us and not to go beyond what we've been called to do. The other thing is that it's going to help us to remember that it's not about us. It's not about how well we can explain this story. It's not about manipulating people into probably giving, into coming to serve, but it's about sharing the stories as it is and then allowing the Holy Spirit to work in the lives of people. So what it's telling me is that, okay, yeah, I'm doing good, but there are dangers to it. Just like in our salvation, when we try to live right and do the good works, we think we are earning the grace that God has freely given us, and that's not true. We've been given grace freely, not by works, lest some of us may boast. And so what is the, looking at the spiritual dangers is helping us to check ourselves. Are we trying to do so much so that we take the credit? Are we trying to manipulate people into coming alongside us and helping us do the ministry instead of allowing the Holy Spirit to do? The other thing that the spiritual dangers will do for us is to avoid playing God. The more you go into works and doing good, you might end up thinking that you're actually an answer to many people. One of my friends in Rwanda once mentioned that he had been powerful and that came to an end, like so many stories we hear. And one day he said, I thought I was God. I thought I used to decide who gets to live right and not live right. And he discovered that he wasn't. So even for us, are we in the danger of playing God? Yes. So the spiritual dangers is like a wake-up call for us. What are the dangers of what you're doing? And it's a timely book, but at the same time I feel like it's a bit late for many that did not end well. Maybe if they had known that, maybe if they had been prompted by the book, maybe if someone had talked to them, they probably would have ended well. And yeah, it's a very important question to ask ourselves.